Hi guys, I'm Kiera and welcome back to my studio. Today we are going to be doing a little review for these markers right here. They are called Illustrator by Spectrum Noir. I received them for a Christmas gift and I thought I'd go ahead and test them out and tell you guys my first impressions on them. Now, if you're an OG subscriber, then you will know that I am not new to the Spectrum Noir brand. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that was the first alcohol marker brand that I played with. So I'm excited to see that they upgraded their packaging and all that and are trying to compete with the big boys. You go, girl or boy or whatever you identify as. Since I didn't buy them, I had to go ahead and look up their retail price. And first, let me say that these things were hard to find. These things were very elusive. I looked everywhere and I could barely find the skin tone pack. Now, that could either be a good or bad sign. That could either mean one, they're sold out, which means people are purchasing them out the wazoo, or two, uh, the makers aren't making enough markers. When I finally found them on Amazon, I found them for $34.99, I believe. And I guess that's a decent price. If you compare that to a 12 set of markers from Copics, yeah, that's definitely cheaper because Copics would range, from like $50 to $60 for 12 markers. So yeah, it's already cheaper than Copics, which is good. But what about the quality? Well, that, my friend, is what we're going to be testing out today. I'm starting with this sketch that I drew, and I am doing my undertones as I always do. If you're an OG subscriber, you already know what I'm doing. If you're new here, well, hi. And let me just go ahead and link you to this upper right hand corner link, and it will take you to a video that explains why I start off with shading with Prismacolor Col-Erasers. And if you are curious as to all the supplies that I'm using in all of my videos, I try to leave a list in the description, so go ahead and check that out. The first thing that I noticed right off the bat is that these markers do not like coloring over the colored pencils. And I'm not going to strike them for that because really you're not supposed to do that. That's just how I do it. So I'm interested in making another illustration with these markers and layering the colored pencils on top of it instead of underneath. But yeah, I noticed that the ink started to like bubble a little bit. It wasn't a smooth layer of ink. And like I said, I'm not going to fault them for that because really it's suggested that you don't do that. But like I said, that's how I like to color with my markers. The next thing I noticed was the barrel design. It's kind of reminiscent of its brethren, older Spectrum Noir marker design, where it's kind of like a hexagon shape. I didn't count the sides, so, but it's just not circular or, rectangular. It's got a whole bunch of different sides, and it kind of it feels weird a little bit, especially because it is a different shape than the older version. So it definitely feels pretty weird, but you get used to that weird feeling really quickly. The next thing that I noticed was that it was brush and bullet nibs, no chisel. So one side is brush and one side is a bullet. And I would prefer, I know I'm in the minority here, I'd prefer one side to have a chisel because like I said, I know I'm in the minority, but I love the chisel side. It really helps you fill out a large space very quickly and evenly. And if you need more tips of how to use alcohol markers, then please make sure you check the link here in the upper right hand corner and I can give you some tips that I wish I knew when I was younger. Just like the older version, the black tube Spectrum Noir markers, These things are refillable, which is great. No one wants to buy a whole brand new marker when you know you're gonna use the mess out of that color. So I love that, but it is kind of hard to open up the cap where you refill it at, just like the older version. I wish they made it slightly more easier, but yeah, at least they're refillable. I love that. Now, I know you guys noticed that I had flipped the page to see if it was bleeding through, and yes, it was. I am not coloring on marker paper, which is basically a no-no. But like I've always said in all my videos, I love texture, so I love coloring on paper with a little bit of grit to it, and I do not recommend that for beginning artists. However, I am proud to say that these markers passed my juicy test. Like, in order for me to love a marker, an alcohol marker, you have to be juicy enough. You have to have enough ink to be able to color on textured paper because that's what I like to do. And some may say that that's not a fair critique because, markers are supposed to be used on marker paper or Bristol paper, something with a smooth surface. But I like to know that my marker is going the extra mile for me. So I'm happy to let you guys know that yes, you can color on paper that's not really meant for the marker with these bad boys. When using the brush tip, I noticed it was very different than a Copic or Winsor & Newton brush tip marker. It's very firm, but it's also sensitive. After coloring for a while, I could see that some of the markers, they got kind of bent out of shape. The nibs didn't like revert to their original shape. Like, you could tell that someone was using these markers right after doing this first drawing that I've ever did with them, which saddens me, but luckily you can buy more nibs, and let me tell you, you're definitely gonna have to, because like I said, this was the first impression that I've ever had with these markers, and you can already tell that they're bent out of shape. They blend very well together, though. I think for a cheaper brand, they definitely do what I need them to do. I had to go ahead and test how much ink this things hold by doing a big background, and like I said, I wish I had a chisel tip to do this, but after doing this little background here, first time using the marker, this orange marker was almost out of ink, and yeah, I know I used a lot of it for this little background, but I know a lot of my markers wouldn't give up so easily. So it doesn't hold as much ink as I would like it to hold. They were fun to play with, though. I'm going to quickly show you how the nibs look afterwards. See, that's the orange I just used. You can tell that's not how it started. Let me show you. Here is another marker that I barely used, but I still used in this piece. That's how it starts out, nice and pretty, and that's how the orange finished. So would I recommend these to another artist is the question, and the answer is yes. Definitely if you're a beginner artist, you still get to feel what alcohol markers feel like and how they blend. So without spending a bunch of money, you still get the same experience. And for intermediate artists who like to sketch with markers like I do, then I think it's also fine for that. No, this video wasn't sponsored, but Spectrum Noir, holler at your girl. Alright, you guys, that's basically it. I love you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye!